And welcome back to Going Corn, episode number 6, I believe. I think I'm on that this time. We're gonna recap week 2. Look forward to week 3. No special guests today, but I do have the co-host with the most, Caleb. How are you doing today?
I'm sipping on some tea. My drink of the night is an Arnold Palmer. Okay,
Arnold Palmer.
And it's fitting because there's going to be some tea
right?
tonight.
I mean, I hope you got the gallon jug of the thing, because I mean.
Oh, I got the gallon jug and a can if I don't get it all down. So we're going to be sipping some tea tonight.
Oh man, that's gonna be great. So a lot to go over. Lots of stuff happening just even in the last hour or so in Leroy here. Lots to look forward to. So how's the week going? You know, we had the tournament and GBL, and are you as dead as I am?
Well, my take on here's my first take. We won't be having a Wiffle Classic in 2020.
Yikes.
Due to lack of participation and also people following through on their commitments. So, first take of the night.
Well, I'll say you're going to be wrong on that. I'll give it about a 60% chance of coming back.
20.
We'll see.
And that's being generous.
Okay. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and look back at week 2. I'm gonna do the 6:00 games, and Caleb's gonna do the 7:00 games. So we had another pretty much sweeps all around except for one series. So we had Valiant Vultures 10-6 over the Badgers, Liners 7-1 over the Sliders. A close game. The Crocs beat my Narwhals 3-2. Turtles take Bashers 3-0, and the Squint Sluggers win a close one at 6-5.
Yeah, and then at the 7:00 games, we had the Turtles beating the Bashers 3. Oh wait, you did that one already, didn't you? Yeah, the Crocs beat the Narwhals 2-0 in a pitcher's duel. The Liners again beat the Sliders 9-1. The Turtles beat the Bashers 2-1, moving them to 4-0. The Maniacs beat the Sluggers 8-5 on Minute Maid, and the Vultures dismantled the Badgers 9-3 on Harambe. So, week 2 in the books.
Yeah, quote Jared, the Badgers.
What would you say?
I was saying the Badgers, direct quote from the owner, were the Badgers were trash bags last week. Direct quote.
No two ways about it. They were not good. I mean, on a lot of different fronts. Their owner couldn't pitch. Marty played at about a $12 level. And Dave pretty much sealed the deal with Joel Dykstra never coming back again. So that was upset as well. He was not having it anymore. So right now as it stands, we've got 4 teams at 4-0. The Crocs, Liners, Turtles, and Vultures. We've got another team at 2-0, the Barnstormers, who had a bye last week. And then sitting above the cut line, there's a team at 1-3 right now above the cut line, the Marvelous Maniacs. We have the Badgers at 0-2, the Bombers at 0-2, the Sliders at 0-4, the Bashers at 0-4, and the Narwhals at 0-4. Greg, is there anything that surprises you or jumps out from week 2?
Not really. I mean, still inconsistent play from the Maniacs. At least they get the first game. Turtles get an easy matchup. Still close games, though. I mean, the Bashers are showing some promise there. I mean, they only gave up 5 runs over 2 games. And we'll get into this in a minute. I mean, they changed the roster around. But, I mean, a lot of the same inconsistencies from Alec Gerlach. A lot of close games here.
No. Not inconsistencies from Alec Gerlach. He was trash.
Well,
He wasn't inconsistent. He was bad. He was just bad.
Okay, well, $40 player from last year being $13 right now is.
That's my point. Inconsistent would be like $28, $29. Yeah, he's there, but not really there. He's $13. He's bad. I don't know what he is, but he's bad right now. There's just that is what it is.
He's not great.
No.
So
how about a stat for you? Guess who's leading the league in pitching wins?
Oh, here we go. I think it's isn't it Tim?
It's Quinn Cloghesse.
Oh, Quinn. That's right.
Too bad he couldn't pull that together for the Narwhals last week in GVL.
I mean, it was, yeah. Let's not talk people. Piece of shit.
And the whip leader for the year is Mike Kubaki, who honestly, if his headshot was red, he could pass for Ant-Man. Have you seen his headshot?
Come on.
Look at it. He looks like Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, are you fucking get the fuck out of here?
I'm not. Go look at it.
Where is?
I look at week 2, and week 1's always you can't base anything off week 1. I mean, it's just a big old toss-up. It's whatever. And then week 2 comes around, and you start to see, like, week 1's kind of an indicator. I always have said this as an owner. After week 2, you get a much clearer picture of, 1, who can consistently show up, 2, who is going to actually be able to produce for you, and 3, I know we're only 4 games in, but there starts to be a major separation, right? Like, I look at how it stands right now. There's 4 teams at 4-0, and there are 3 teams at 0-4 and 2 teams at 0-2. I mean, the Bombers are 0-2 right now after having to play 2 tough games in the Wind, and they're 3 games back of first place already.
Yeah.
In 1 week. Like, this is where, you don't want to jump ship, if things aren't going well early on, but you can't, like, just for a long extended period of time hope that the ship's going to be plugged, because 2 weeks has gone by just like that. You look up, 2 more weeks goes by. If you're not sitting at a high win total, you could be in a very difficult position.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's at that point. I mean, yeah, 1 or 2 more weeks is really going to be like either we kind of know exactly where everyone's going to be. Right. The problem is it's like it just depends on scheduling too. Turtles are 4-0 because they get a good matchup without Robbie being there, and again the Wind, and it's just like, and on the flip side of that, it's my team hitting the ball well, but the Wind blows it in, and then last week we have a very tough matchup with some good players and a rookie that got signed to a team already. So I mean, so it's definitely that time where you got to start thinking about making sure your team is kind of set, and 1 more week or so, and hopefully you kind of have your players start playing, and if you need to start thinking about something else. So,
all right, here's a good one for you. Out of the 4 teams that are 4-0 and the 5 teams that are either 0-2 or 0-4, what team in both categories surprises you the most for being there?
I mean, surprising. I mean, I guess
start with the 4-0 teams. You got the Crocs, Liners, Turtles, and Vultures.
I'd say Vultures. I mean, I knew they were going to be good. I had them up there in my power rankings, but I mean, I didn't think 4-0. I mean, I didn't, I think Quinn has obviously done enough. He's got the wins, so he's obviously done enough to be winning. The other 3 teams, I mean, obviously I didn't see the Scrappin' Turtles there, but I mean, like, I'll say it till I die, but whatever. And the Liners and Crocs, I mean, I had the Crocs.
No, I agree with that take. Matt and Kip can keep trying to blow up what it's about. They had a great favorable win condition, and then they played the worst team in the league. So, I mean, they've gotten a very lucky start to the year. If they play anybody outside of that, or if the wind's blowing out, they play anyone outside of the Bastards week 2, and the wind's blowing out week 1, they're at very minimum 2-2, if not 0-4. So I'll throw that out there. So continue.
Yeah. So I mean, and then 0-4 teams, or 0 for teams. I mean, I don't know. You can't. I mean, am I surprised by some of these teams? No, because that was the same thing we talked about, the Sliders, the Bombers being 0-2. Like we knew they were going to have some issues. I mean, now they're looking pretty good, but
right.
So yeah.
Well, and I kind of back that up with what you've got going on with, with the Vultures. You look at their stats, and I mean, hitting wise, obviously Dave's going to jump out at you because he's had a hot start to the year. But Quinn's hitting .481, with 3 homers and 4 RBI. Whereas in the past, he's been cold. Like, you haven't seen any power numbers from him. You got Chris Deal with 9 homers and 16 RBI, hitting .600. Garrett Lytle hitting .444 with 8 homers and 12 RBI, which, to be honest, Garrett, that's probably low for him, honestly, with his ability to hit. And then you've got Dave at a .480 ERA, so he's keeping runs down. Garrett 1.2 ERA, which you can expect from a guy like him. So, I mean, and granted, they did it against a struggling Bashers team with the wind howling out. The Bashers put up runs against them too. But then they went to a Badgers team and exposed the Badgers' flaw in not really having consistent pitching. So, I mean, they've been performing, and again, this is always my mantra. Everybody likes to over fantasize and hype up what's going on in the beginning of the year. It's a 22-game season. Let's see if you can do that over the course of an entire year. I think that, to me, speaks more. But, I mean, the Vultures have shown that they have the ability to do something like that. I mean, do you agree?
Yeah, true. I agree. So we'll see kind of how it ends up. I mean, plus if Chris Deal, I mean, he's got a 25 ERA right now. If he learns how to pitch, man, that's going to be a tough team.
Right.
Especially because even if they dip a little bit, I mean, as long as, I see Deal still, he's always a great hitter.
Right.
So as long as Quinn keeps it up and Garrett gets a little bit better, even if Buzik falls back down to like a 580 average, which is a pretty big dip, that's still a great average for, for this league. I think they could go far. How about your Ophir teams? What are your surprises there?
Yeah, to be honest, there's only one that I'm like, yep, and that's 0-4 for the Sliders. I mean, when Jordan drafted, and we'll get into him a little bit more too, but when Jordan drafted B-Trav and Alec, I never thought this team was going to be a, top 3 team. I didn't think they had a chance to win the ship per se, but I mean, I knew they would be able to have some talent if Jordan played well, and especially having Jeff last week, who I actually picked up and I watched him pitch and field. He's dominant in those 2 areas, or can be. To be 0-4 to me is just unacceptable. I mean, you have to know, again, it's not just about in this league picking up players that are, going to be talented. You have to know and be able to figure out a way to play that's going to fit your system. I mean, that's kind of the thing that, if anything I speak to about my teams is that people don't realize is that, they always give me crap and stuff like that for, a lot of my guys walking or stuff. But we have a system, we have a style, we play a certain way, and I draft players that fit into that, and Jordan doesn't really have an established system or style. I mean, it's just really you show up and play. And tied along into that with, what's going on and what happened with all these penalties, there's a part of, the whole argument coming down with these ownership and penalties and stuff. Tim's in the right on this one. I mean, I'm the first person to say when my cousin can get out of control, and I've voiced that plenty of times, but the amount of stuff that comes in and owners have to do compared to what gets output by a few members on the board, and the stuff that Tim does for stats is minuscule. So, I mean, overall, I think the Sliders are mine for that way. And this isn't a Jordan Bass Fest. That's my guy. I mean, I talk to him every week, but I mean, on these 2 things, I think there just leaves a lot to be desired. And, if you want to complain and make a big stink out of it, that's fine. but you can't leave your own personal responsibility out of it. One, to be able to follow the rules and know the rules, and two, to be able to put a team together that can play cohesively. Because the team I played last week with the Sliders, you have Alec and Brian. I'm playing a certain way and trying to be aggressive in a certain way, and just the voice and the leadership wasn't there. So
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, if you're an owner, you saw my response. I mean, I think that what we have to do as owners, yeah, it sucks. It's kind of stupid. Yeah, why do I have to take pictures for my thing? But it's like before it was just Tim and I hunting down people saying, "Oh, you don't have a headshot or you don't have a picture for our league. We need to have a picture." So when we used to, post the batter of the week and all that stuff. So yeah, I think it sucks, but you gotta just do it. I mean, you know.
So are they your other 0-4 team?
I would say more so. Yeah, I would kind of agree with that. I didn't see them really 0-4. It's kind of a shock that they're, I figured they at least, be 2-2 here at this point.
Yeah. Right.
Kind of split it up, but
yeah.
So yeah. So you want to go ahead and get into some pickups? There's been a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, you get it started.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with the biggest one, I believe. In terms of changing the roster, the Bashers just added Jeremy Radijak after signing Alex Friedman. So they signed Alex Friedman, which was a move they had to do first, and drop Joffrey, and then they had enough room to sign Jeremy. So now they got Jeremy. They have Rat, they have Al, Kyle, and Grant. So, what do you think about that move first? I know that affected you too. Probably the biggest.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too. A lot of people seen it in the question bag. Oh, are the liners going to be okay? I mean,
yeah. I'll answer that question. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Why don't you talk about the move I made? So.
Yeah. You got Jeff Borkowski for Mitch Gerlach. Dropped Mitch Gerlach. Yeah, I think that's another good upside pick because Jeff. I mean, I know what Jeff can do. He's very athletic. He throws pretty well. I mean, I just know him personally. You know what I'm saying? So I know he's going to be a good pickup. But also, this gives you a chance to just play with your guys. You don't have to worry about this whole I'm not going to have Rat for the playoffs thing. So now you can do what you did last year and get your guys to play for you, and you have your set team. You don't have to worry about.
Right. Well, and to be honest, I mean, that's where, I got really excited when Jeff was on the board at 21. He's a lot better than 21, and this is his first time playing wiffle ball, so there was that factor, and then that was also just the fact that, like you said, I mean, last year that's what made us so special was I got to be able to play with those guys for almost, together. I only had 10 games really with Alec before we got to the playoffs, and we developed that kind of chemistry. Barring anybody either getting hurt or just tanking, I think I've got my team. So I think that's where, that helps me out a lot. But I mean, back to the main question with the Bashers. I mean, I think I respect Grant trying to make moves to figure out what he's going to do. I think Rat will help. I mean, he's a big bat, and he's been actually pitching very well this year. But to be able to, I mean, let's just say for argument, I mean, you're just placing a lot of stock in and hoping that Grant, Kyle, and Al aren't going to blow up because, any one of those three guys can give up 8 runs in an inning. And, you can shoulder having maybe one or two guys. I mean, you can shoulder having one guy that can do that. 2 is risky. 3, I mean, it's going to be tough, especially in unfavorable wind conditions for them to be able to shoulder it. Now, this isn't me saying the Bashers don't have a chance to win games. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that signing Al Friedman, and having to take such a hit with salary because you weren't at the draft and had other things going on, it's coming back to hurt you. So, I mean, again, I like the move. I think it'll be okay for Grant. Rat will be a good player for him, but there's still a lot of improvement that needs to happen for this Pastors team in order to be a contender or be able to move in the right direction, for my opinion. And
Yeah.
Tapper's bat has to stay consistent. Like, he can be that number 2 hitter for them that can give them a boost when they need it. But, they're going to need either they need one of two things. They either need Al or Grant to hit really well and have that be their identity, is we're going to hit the ball because they've got Rat. Or they need to have Grant have an ERA probably below 7 or 6 because Rat will be their ace.
I mean, the thing is, I think that they just need to, like, Grant and Rat need to be the co-manager here. You need to go to Rat and say, "Hey, man, I know, I'm putting a lot of, trust in you, and I trust what you think. You're a good wiffle ball guy. Let me know what we need to do as a team to get better and build around this." Because, Rat.
I know what the answer will be. They'll get Ryan Gallagher.
Well, I believe he's on a roster, isn't he?
Is he?
No, he's not.
He might be a crock. No, he's a barnstormer.
Not according to this. It says Ty Bothwell, so I guess he is available.
Who the hell is Ty Bothwell? Come on. Anyway, what were you saying?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is just he has to kind of rely on Rat to kind of be that championship pedigree that he has in winning in GBL for so long and just being a good player, and just kind of trust his opinion and try and figure out a way to get that winning mentality on the team. So
yeah.
I think he can do that. So I think that's why I think it was such a good signing. But then if we look at some others, the Bombers ended up. So in that move, they dropped Colin Lautenbach. So the Bombers, within 3 seconds almost, picked up Colin Lautenbach to their Kermit roster. Shocking. That's going to be really – I really hope it wasn't just now, Colin's going to show up every week for Brett, and he wouldn't, but we'll see how that works out. And then they also got Mitch Gerlach from when you dropped him. So the Bombers actually have a pretty good-looking team, and they can just run with those Kermits for a while until they can, get some people on our team in the salary. So,
yeah,
absolutely. And then, and the most shocking move, I feel like, was Justin Deckinga was dropped for Tyler Eichen.
Yeah, I don't know. Justin had a 0 ERA, right? Doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And he's playing about $6 more than his salary.
Wow.
So that was just very shocking that happened. I mean, I think they're going for the upside of Venkaiken over, over Justin. But
yeah.
So.
I mean, unless there's something that that Matt knows that I don't, I just don't know how you can do that with a guy that is going to be there 22 games, and you know what you're going to get out of him. I mean, that's, to me, you can't really put a price tag, on that. Now, if Venkaiken's going to show up 22 and he's better, then Matt may be making a genius move. I don't know the answer to that. It's just without the knowledge, what you're going to get from Justin. Without the knowledge of what Tyler can do, this is Matt taking a very, very big risk early on in the season.
Yeah, so looking at his stats, he's pitched 6 innings and he still has a 0 ERA, and he has struck out 8 people out of those 6 innings, which is pretty good. So I mean, so that's the thing. You know what you're getting in Justin. You might not know. So I think he's just kind of banking on the upside of Venkaiken.
Right.
And also it does take him away from the Crocs, which is actually a really good move. Especially since they're playing him this week.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
But then Justin promptly got picked up by the Barnstormers as well. So he's on a team at least.
Will we see Jim Tucker this week?
Probably not. I think he's still got baseball, so I mean, we might not see Tuck for another week. We'll see, though. I know he wants to be out there. He is 100% committed. I mean, he's got jerseys and hats and everything, so
all of it.
So yeah, I think he's very committed. So we'll see if he ends up out there this week.
Yeah.
And then looking around, I think the only other one that happened was that Bo got dropped and is now on the Badgers, and now he's going to come this week.
Right.
Which was another collusion move. So,
your thoughts?
I mean, whatever. He is in. I mean, he was told last year by Jared not to throw hard. So, and as you said before this podcast, there might be millions of dollars on the field on Wednesday.
That's actually not a joke. I'm serious. Like if.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
This dude's looking to get drafted in the first couple rounds in the next year. So, and he's going to the Cape Cod League this summer. So, the premier college, amateur summer league. So, it's
So Sheriff better not clown around and try and get a statement out of him. You ain't gonna get a controversial statement out of me, bud. It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. So. Anyway, so that's gonna do it for signings in week 1 or 2, I should say. Any other thoughts from week 2 before we move on?
No, I'm excited to get to week 3, and I'm really excited for the question bag. So
there's lots. So yeah, we're gonna take a quick break and then join us on the other side. And we're back with the other side of Going Corn. We're going to look ahead now to week number 3. We're going to do the same thing we've been doing, so we're going to try and keep up with this every week. We're going to preview each matchup, and Caleb and I are going to predict kind of what's going to happen, and then we'll, do our mock standings and all that, and then we'll go from there. So the first matchup is going to be the Barnstormers and the Sliders. We don't know lineups yet because it's Monday night, but I'm going to assume that it's going to be for the Barnstormers, Gags, Justin, Deckinga, Austin Warner, and who else is there? Feldy. So it's probably going to be them versus, we don't know for the Sliders because they're salary thing. I mean, Calvin guys are supposed to be back, so maybe John Gibson makes an appearance this week. Otherwise, they're going to have to find another free agent and add him. So it'd probably be Gerlach, Moselle, Travis, and then John Gibson or somebody else. So
right.
I'm going to predict a split here.
Oh, boo. No. This year's been the year of sweeps. Barnstormers sweep.
Okay. So Caleb says Barnstormers sweep.
If Alec Gerlach doesn't pitch, he pitches like he pitched last week, Barnstormers sweep. They scored 1 run against us, both games. And they're without Jeff now.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I don't want to say 0-6 for the Sliders. I just don't.
That's because you're afraid of confrontation. 0-6 for the Sliders.
I'm not afraid. I made some hot takes the last couple weeks, so you can suck it. All right. You want to do the next
hot take was that the wind affected your wiffle ball game with the Turtles. That wasn't a hot take. That was 100%.
Get out of here.
Matt and all them know it. If the wind was blowing out that game, you guys beat them going away. Easily. But you're afraid to say that. Continue.
I didn't say in the wind. Anyway.
That's T.
Okay, next up. Do you do the next series then? You start it off.
Crocs Turtles. 6:15. What field is this on?
It is on Minute Maid.
So it could be going either way.
Josh Smith back this week.
Yeah, I think the Crocs sweep this regardless. If the wind's blowing out, the Crocs may make it a really, really tough week for the Turtles. I'll put it that way. Bogus looked really good at the Classic. He'll be rested. He'll have 3 days of rest with his arm. Jackson pitched really well. Josh Schmitz, if he can throw strikes. I mean, yeah, I think the Crocs sweep here. I think the Turtles' hot streak comes to a halt. If the wind's blowing out, Matt could play a big factor. His swing looked actually pretty good last week from what I saw on Wrigley. He hit a few balls pretty deep with the wind blowing in. But, yeah, I got Crocs sweep here. I think the Turtles' luck is going to run out this week.
I full-heartedly agree. I think the Crocs go to 6-0. And I don't think it's going to be close. I think Jackson's going to break out hitting this week.
Yeah, he had a good week. I think the Classic might have helped him out.
The Classic, I think, got a lot of people's confidence up for batting. So we'll see how that affects people. But, yeah, I think Jackson is not going to stay. I mean, he's at like 100 something right now. So I don't think that stays. And I think he has a breakout week, especially against some of their maybe trying to get some revenge against the team that took Tyler Van Kuiken from them and just embarrass him. So we'll see. But that's my thoughts. So we both have sweep for Crocs. Next series we're going to look at Vultures versus Bombers. So the Bombers could be Brett, Kyle Schaff, Mitch Gerlach, and Colin Lautenbach.
Ooh.
How about that for a team?
Ouch.
Versus
Zoink, Scoop.
Versus Garrett, Dave, Quinn, and Deal. I don't think that lineup's going to change for a long time because Deal is $0 and they are -11 in the salary right now. Yep. So, yeah, they are. Woof. Buzik's at $64. Jesus.
Well, we'll get an opportunity to see what Dave can do against legitimate pitching. So.
I know. So we'll see here. I mean, that's a great. I'm gonna say the Vultures drop their first two. I think Bombers get a sweep here. I think they're gonna have that team. Mitch is a pretty good pitcher. And so is, Colin has pitched really well for them. And I think they're going to have enough bats with Schaff and Colin to score runs and just put up and get the Bombers 2 wins here and even them up at 2-2.
Yeah. I think the disadvantage for Brett in this one is that two of these guys haven't played yet. So I think they'll split. I think they might lose the first game due to rust, but that lineup is too good top to bottom to be able to lose 2, and especially if they get some slow pitch count. So I think this is my split. I think this is the split right here. So
okay, cool. Next one, you probably want to do my series next, so I can do the last one.
Narwhals Badgers. I don't know. A lot of people look at this series and think it's an easy one to call. I don't think that. I think this is going to be a split. Vince looked really good in the Wiffle Classic. So did Zach Heiss. I've said it multiple times during the day. How are the Narwhals 0-4? I don't know. Greg pitched well. Greg hit well in the Classic. I think this was a great, great weekend. Sam did too. I think it's a great situation for the Narwhals. And I look at the Badgers and I'm not impressed. Marty was bad. Jared was bad. He still struggled to find the zone. Bo did not look great. And then who's their fourth? Cam Barlan. Cam's mustache is an adventure in and of itself at this point. I don't even know what else to say about that. So I don't know.
Can I tell you something before you make your decision?
What?
Vince is not going to be there this week.
Ooh. So who are you going to play?
If you check the owner's chat, I did just add somebody to my Kermit.
Who?
The champion of the Indiana Wiffle Classic with a game-winning home run.
Oh, stop.
I'm not even kidding.
You added Mookie.
I sure did. I believe in the Mook, man.
Well, Badgers will sweep.
Cam Verlan is hitting .727.
Jeez.
Yikes.
What a week for Vince not to come.
I know. The story of Greg's life, isn't it? So, I'm not even.
Well, I don't know.
This
I'm going to just stick with what I said. I still think a split is there. But, yeah, you've just got to.
We've got to hit.
You got to pray and hope Heist can pick you up.
Yep. We've got to hit. That's the thing.
Yep.
We have the fourth best team ERA right now, and we've got to be able to show that, but we've got to be able to hit. And if
you'll see slow pitch counts.
Yeah, especially with Bo. I don't think he's going to be throwing anywhere hard. So
no.
So yeah. So I'm not going to give my thoughts on that, but anyway. And then the Sluggers Bashers. I don't see the Bashers getting out of the Schneid yet.
Nope.
Even with Rat, I don't know how long they didn't give up but 3 runs last week. I don't know how long that will last, and I don't know if Al and Grant can hit to get on base for Rat, because I'm sure Rat's gonna hit a few home runs, but like they're playing a pretty good pitching team here.
But they've got to pray, and if the wind's blowing in, they don't have a prayer.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, he's got to hit some dongs for them to be in this game. And I think
there is a potential for a split if the wind is blowing out and Rat and Tapper get hot. But if the wind is blowing in, it's a sweep for the Sliders, because they're not going to give up a run.
Sluggers,
right? Sluggers. Yeah.
So what's your prediction?
What field is it on?
It is on the Fenway.
See, that's right in between two. It could go either way. I'm gonna be safe and say split or sweep for the Sluggers.
Okay.
Sweep for the Sluggers.
I'm gonna say sweep. I hope they split, but I'm just gonna say sweep for now. If Lou Killigans comes, that could be the only potential like risk I see for the Sluggers possibly, because he played at a $13 level. So if he is bad, then the other team has a chance. He was Lou Killigans hitting .083 with 1 loss and gave up 6 earned runs in his one.
I wouldn't be shocked if that's intentional,
or 2 innings. Oh, okay. So he only gave up 3 in each, but and Eric gave up a couple runs. So yeah. So I'm gonna say sweep, but there, like you said, potential for a split. Yep. So that's gonna do it for the things. So
predictions.
Yeah, for the predictions. With our predictions, the Crocs would be 6-0. Liners have a bye, so they'd be 4-0. The Turtles would be 4-2.
Yep.
The Vultures would be what did we say? You said Bombers take 2, or I said Bombers take 2, so yeah, so that'd be 2-2 for the Bombers and 5-1 for the Vultures.
Yep.
5-1 for the Vultures, and then it'd be 1-3 for you for the Bombers.
Yep.
And then Sluggers would be at 3-1. The Bashers would be at 0-6, and then the Sliders would be 0-6 or 1-5 based off of that. So, so those are pretty much the standings. The Maniacs also have the week off this week. So, that's kind of our predictions for this week. Let's get right into the question bag then. Let's get this moving along. Had a lot of questions on Going Corn's Twitter at Going Corn LWA. If you want to give it a follow, we'll start right from Jared. One of his many questions that he sends in every week. He asks, "Will Dave's hot streak come to an end?" Yes, at some point it will. I don't see him sustaining a 700 average or 680 average with 13 home runs through 4 games. An average of 4 home runs a game, that would be 80 something home runs. So don't see that. Caleb?
I think he can be probably the second best hitter, maybe third best hitter in the league. I think he has the ability to be really good. I'm not saying he doesn't have the potential to do it. I just haven't seen somebody do it besides me. So until somebody does, I'm going to say no.
Okay. Who will stay undefeated, Crocs or Turtles? We answered that. The Crocs. Jared. These are all Jared. Will the Badgers be trash bags again this week? Probably not.
I'd say 50-50 chance.
Yeah. How many ding-dongs will Bo hit off of the Narwhals? I'm going to put it at 1.
Considering Bo hasn't swung a bat in about 8 months, I will be very surprised if he hits a ton, to be completely honest.
Okay, on to a different person for questions. James Hayworth. Will Deckinga find a new team? He did. He's on the Barnstormers.
Which, by the way, I think is a really good fit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They could fill him in for any of those players, and he's going to do the same thing. He's going to pitch pretty well. He's going to throw strikes,
which
is what they already do, and he's going to get on base. And so, yeah, I think
fits in perfect.
Yep. I think a lot better than the Turtles, too. I think he's a good complimentary. I mean, Justin was their ace.
Right.
So they're number 1. So Ryan Vogus asks, will Dave ever stop yelling at me?
No.
No, absolutely not. That is going to last all year.
What he does.
The competition, he says. It fuels him. The Wiffle Ducks ask, is Dave Buzik better than Caleb? I'm not putting money down on that at all, ever in my life. So,
in response to the Wiffle Ducks, which hiding behind a fake Twitter account that exists no more, 4 MVPs, 5 batting titles, 3 pitching titles, 2 league titles. No.
There's a reason why we had to make Going Corn Awards so people would actually listen to the awards show, because, as Caleb has said, all we said at the beginning was, well, Caleb won everything yet again. So until we don't have to make a Going Corn awards podcast, I am never going to say that. Buzik is having, and I said he would be really good this year. We'll see. I mean, he's going to, use this as fuel, I'm sure, to shut people up and death peg a few people, but we'll see.
I'll be honest with you. I want him to keep trying and to do it. This is great for the league.
It is.
It really is.
Yes, it is. I agree.
Me saying all that is not trying to say that I don't want, that, or that I'm trying to discourage it. I love it. I love that there's somebody that wants to try and come at that and wants to do that.
That's just saying that mentality. I love it.
Yeah, it's a dog mentality. I'm just telling you that I'm still coming too. So that is what it is. So,
like I said, I've grown to know not to doubt Caleb. So until it happens, I won't. So, Rob Warren, why would you release a guy with a 0 ERA and a 183 against? Meanwhile, in my opinion, playing above.
I love Rob. In 4 games, I've grown to love Rob. He is always bringing the tea.
I love
preach
Rob.
it to the choir, Robert. Let him have it. Facts.
True.
I
agree.
Your thoughts.
So, I'm sure Tim was very involved with that transaction. So, yeah. And then, was there any in our owners chat? I'm sure there was a couple.
There was. Hold on. I'm not even there.
Let's see. Well, there's a lot of discussion on a lot of people leaving the chat today. Who will sign so Caleb can't have him? And then Grant immediately responded with drop Colin and sign Rat. So.
No more questions.
No, that's it. Pretty short other side of the podcast today, but lots going on. Lots of Buzik questions, and I'm sure we'll still get them as long as he is doing what he does and yelling at Vogus every home run, yelling at you from when he can't even see you.
I'm on the other side of the complex, and I just hear Dave. Yeah, you like that, Caleb? Absolutely, Dave. You bet.
He got a protein pancake in the middle of a game.
Protein
pancake.
Ask him about the apple cider vinegar. He's a big believer.
Big believer.
I couldn't do it. I tried
Good
it.
Good for muscle recovery.
Bad for your appetite.
Stomach not feeling so well after that?
There was no part of my body feeling good after taking that. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But no, it should be a very good week 3. I think I'm still gonna come even though I don't play. Help set up, get everything running smoothly. I mean, week 3 will go by. We'll see what happens, and then once we get to week 4, I'm excited for that podcast because that's the reckoning time. You're 8 games in. You don't really have a ton more time to be making adjustments or tinkering with things. You've got to go with what you have. So these new next 2 weeks are what I like to call movement weeks in Leroy because you either got to make moves or you got to start moving towards the top of the leaderboard, one of the two. Because if you don't, it's very easy to find yourself at the bottom of the pack, clawing to make it work. So
true. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting the next week or so. Hey, you could be like Wiffle Ball News and record some interviews for Going Corn and put them live.
Yeah, right. Hey, you won 2 out of 3. How does that feel?
Good. Pretty good, man.
All right. Just want to thank God. They tried the weather tried to take our energy, but we weren't gonna let it.
They got us in the first half. Not gonna
lie. Shout out to Wiffle Now. I don't know why you retweet everything we do, but it's appreciated.
Yeah, I don't think they've retweeted any of our stuff, but that's okay. Wiffle Now has stirred up the pot. I mean, Griffle.
Many times.
Going Griffle or whatever we did on Friday.
Yeah.
Address those topics. If you want to go, shout out to GBL, shout out to them, and Tyler Walk putting on a good podcast, and new co-host Ryan Vogus. Do the fans want Vogus back on Going Corn? That's the real question.
Tweet at us and let us know. Here's the real question: has Ryan Vogus become a top 5 podcast personality in the country?
Interesting.
I'd say
that is a good question. I would say probably. He found his groove. He found his niche. He picks his times to be controversial, and he has some good takes.
I mean, obviously, you're not going to take down the Mount Rushmore. Carl Coffey will forever be my number 1 podcast. But, I mean, after him, I mean, there's a fluid. I mean, Trent Steffes will be up there. I think you're in there. You're in the conversation. I think Tim, when he's sober.
Or not as drunk. There's a good mix of Tim. Because he hates doing a podcast sober because he's so nervous when he does it. Which I don't understand. I don't know how you're nervous recording a podcast.
Well, our first year was pretty rough with Going Corn. We had some boring podcasts.
Well, we didn't.
It was rough.
We didn't have questions. We didn't have a lot of other stuff. We just kind of flew by. But we got the Twitter, and we're putting them on YouTube and a little more accessible. So, and a lot of people listening to the podcast now. You know, I knew Jeff Borkowski listened to the podcast.
I felt like everybody last week was really excited about letting us know about the podcast. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of listens this week.
I hope so. Keep listening. I mean, keep interacting with us. We love it, man. This is what's making our podcast grow and be good. So keep up with the interaction, guys. A lot of great thoughts from, obviously Warren and Hayworth jumping in the question bag this week. So lots of good stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be a spoiler, but there's big potential that we may see an elderly fan of wiffle ball coming out next week to be on the podcast. His name starts with an H.
No.
So we'll see. We might have Hank.
Hank the Tank, come on. But yeah,
Hank, Greg, they want him.
We are going to get some special guests on throughout the year. If there's anyone you'd like to see from Wiffle Wise, maybe some new people, like anyone from any of the teams, let us know if you have any thoughts on that. And but otherwise, I think we're going to start wrapping it up here.
We are going to wrap it up.
Going thoughts.
I don't have any more thoughts. No.
Good.
Yep. I will say see you next week. I'll be there Wednesday. Have a good Memorial Day. Be safe. Please
Don't
be
stupid
safe.
Things.
Be safe and see ya.
All right. It's been Going Corn.